Ottilia must not struggle. That she knew, understood. Her clothes would drag her down if she did, even the light muslin petticoats now heavy with the wet. As well it was summer. Inconsequential thoughts floated as she allowed the current to pull her along. The water was colder than she would have expected, more peaceful than it looked. It was not unpleasant once the coughing had ended. If this was death, it was easier than she would have supposed. Was she going to drown? Probably. The only effort was to keep her head above water. Had Francis followed her? He could swim, couldn't he? She ought to have learned. Did she hear him call her name? The notion brought sadness. How would he manage? The children, too. Regret washed through her, and she lost control, slipping under. But then instinct took over, and she thrust into the water with her hands. Like oars. It ought to work. Her face broke the surface, and she saw the sky. She drew in air, realizing she had been holding her breath. Shadowing trees. She must be close to the bank. She tried to look, her head too immersed to take in much as she turned it from side to side. A mass of green, closer on one side. If she used one hand only, opposite to the bank, could she shift closer? You turned a boat that way. She tried, tentative at first, then more strongly as it seemed to work in her favour. Then she was turning too much, sideways on to the current. Her body dipped and she had to snatch a breath and hold it. She kicked without thinking and felt herself sink. No, that was foolish. She did not want to end up head first in the current. Ottilia went still, her pulse leaping a little. Gradually her body shifted with the swell of the water and she was once again floating free. Not yet ready to die, then? Amusement trickled in. What, Ottilia? In this extremity? Well, she had rather die laughing than weeping. She watched the drifting sky. It was extraordinarily peaceful. Her hearing was muffled, but for a deeply muted rippling sound. The water itself, calling to her, wishing her under.